Hey there guys, it's OCP Communications, and welcome to a condensed version of my worst movies of 2014, according to me. Now, number one is of course pretty much what you probably would expect it is. Number one is Robocop, aka Robocock. Piece of shit fucking remake that I've really was honestly one of the worst experiences I've had in the theater. Watching. As a big fan of Robocop, this really hurt watching. This movie really hurt. Um, Robocop is a horrible, useless, soulless, generic piece of shit remake of a film that had no business being remade in the first place. Even Michael Keaton can't save this abomination. This film turns Robocop into a pacified, taser-wielding plastic cop who practices non-lethal gunplay to the tune of Wizard of Oz music and fucking yodeling. As a fan of Robocop, this was the nadir of the franchise, even worse than Robocop 3. At least that had the jetpack scene. This has nothing memorable in it at all. Fuck this Robocondom piece of shit. Everything that worked in the first film and even in the sequel is completely lacking in this tedious, boring waste of time and money. The satire is broad and almost completely non-existent. The new elements the story brings are just piles of cliches. And the humanity the film tries to add just feels forced and inhuman compared to the masterful original film. If anything, by forcing the family into the storyline, the film took away the humanity by making the core of the film a giant cliche. Everything that this film tried to do differently from the original was done so for the wrong reasons and came across as trite or completely unnecessary. The attempts at humor are also moronic. Here's an example of this film's humor. Robocop pulls some dude over and his visor says that he is totally stoned. That is A-grade comedy right there, isn't it, folks? Here's another nugget from this awful movie. Bad cop, good cop. Bad cop, Robocop. A fucking zucchini could write better lines than this. The action sequences are blink and you miss it. There's even one scene where Robocop is literally shooting in the dark. Even the look of the future in this film is bland and generic. At points, Detroit looks like it doesn't even need a Robocop. Which is fitting, because we didn't need another Robocop movie either. Alex Murphy should have been allowed to die in peace years ago after his balls were taken away in Robocop 3, and he was forced to further embarrass himself in crap like Robocop the series, where he can't kill anybody and does trick shots, Alpha Commando, where he's turned into Inspector Gadget and has toilet paper rolls and roller blades popping out of his ass, and Prime Directives, where he fights a reject from the Black Scorpion TV series named Bonesaw or Bone Eater or fucking Bone McGee or Bone Fucker, and goes head-to-head with a black Robocop. But this film brought him back online only to shoot him in the head again, and hopefully for the final time. It just wasn't worth it. This is just another film made for the title and to try to grab some cheap cash off its fans and the people who have heard of the character. This Robocop is bland, generic, tasteless baby food that expired long past its expiration date and should be thrown in the trash. Number 2. Expendables 3. This pussy PG-13 installment of a once proud action franchise took the old school action genre out into a dark alley and shot it in the fucking head. One of the worst action films in recent memory, and a disgrace to all things good about 80s action movies. It tries to be both Mission Impossible and Fast and the Furious, and fails miserably on both fronts. A boring waste of action stars of yesteryear with some of the worst CGI ever seen in a big budget film. 50 minutes of the fucking movie, there are no Expendables. In 50 minutes of the fucking movie, there are no Expendables in it, other than Stallone and the New Kids on the Block, who were some of the most poorly written characters in a film of this caliber I have ever seen. The qualifications are fucking laughable. One guy can climb a cliff and have a CGI parachute pop out of his ass. A girl can actually fight, and one guy can't fight, and another guy can shoot a fucking gun. Wow! This shit is dumber than a box of rocks. Expendables 3 thought it would try to appeal to the younger generation for once. A generation that doesn't give a fuck about old school action heroes for the most part. It was destined to fail in the F-scale of fuck from the very beginning. You know you have yourself a shitty movie when of all people, Mel Gibson comes out of this wreckage smelling like roses. Some really insipid, stupid one-liners, too. Stallone's big badass one-liner is, I am the Hague. What the fuck is the Hague? I am the Hag? You are the fag? Well, you got that right. I should have saw the signs when I saw this Fruity Pebbles movie and saw the Fruity Pebbles movie posters that debuted at Comic-Con. This movie is just that. A rainbow-colored piece of shit. Expendables 3 was worse than John Cena. Worst action movie of the decade. Number 3. Godzilla. Such a disappointing pile of lizard shit. The trailer sold me and I thought it was going to be an awesome, thrilling monster movie with Bryan Cranston leading the way. Instead, all I got was a boring, overlong, overdramatic movie that had barely any fucking Godzilla in it, and had Bryan Cranston killed off in the first 30 minutes, which left me with the boring-ass lead Ford Brody, played by Aaron Taylor Johnson, who has one of the fakest New York accents I've ever heard before in my entire life. This movie not only sucked cock, but it is also a major cock tease. So many moments in this movie are just teasing you with Godzilla, only to cut away from the action or even shut the door on it. The film cock teases the big G so much that when he finally does show up in the end and actually do something, the results are very underwhelming. So much of the film was devoted to the Mutos, who are some of the blandest looking monsters in film history. Completely forgettable design. In a film called Godzilla, the Big G is a supporting character in his own film. He is on screen for about 7 to 8 minutes total. That's it. In a 2-hour-long movie. That is unacceptable. I paid to see Godzilla, not the Muto Puto show with White Mike Tyson and his bomb squad. So many people compare this to Jaws or Alien, or the older Godzilla movies. This film wishes it was on those films' level. It doesn't even come close. Those films have slow builds and tons of atmosphere, but they also have a major component that Godzilla lacks. Likeable characters that you actually give a fuck about. Godzilla has one character that has the potential to be the film's Brody, and they kill him off for his boring blockhead son. They instead use the other Brody, who sucks. Such a waste of potential. One of the most overrated films of the year, and one of the biggest disappointments for me personally in years. God damn this Godzilla to hell. Number 4. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. The worst film of the franchise. Even worse than Turtles 3. And even worse than the CGI Turtles movie where Leonardo is just a dickhead. A TMNT film that completely misses the spirit of the brothers and is a boring waste of time to boot. This isn't a Ninja Turtles movie. This is April O'Neil's movie. The Turtles are supporting characters in their own movie. Pitful. Megan Fox is the worst possible choice to play April O'Neil, and it shows. Will Arnett is fucking useless. All he does is drive a car and get shot. William Fichtner is just an exposition machine sponsored by Under Armour. Shredder is a fucking transformer with 50 fucking knives coming out of his ass. He is a walking, talking Cuisinart. The Turtles look like shaved gremlins on steroids that learn martial arts from a book that Splinter found in the fucking sewer. Such a stupid fucking movie. There are barely any moments of brotherly love in the film, and the ones that are there are unmemorable or completely random. Most of the Turtles either do nothing or are as annoying as hell, especially Michelangelo, who is a douchebag pervert who can't stop talking about fucking April, who won't shut the fuck up, and is addicted to Orange Crush. One of the shittiest sodas ever. Leonardo does pretty much nothing other than look like the Michelin Man wearing Rufio's armor from Hook. Donatello is a fucking nerd who even wears glasses with tape on them and snorts when he laughs like he's Richard Carradine from Revenge of the Nerds. Raphael is a pussy who thinks he is Cobra with a matchstick hanging out of his mouth that he should use to light his ugly ass on fire. So light the screenplay on fire too, because it is a complete disgrace. The story is a ripoff of nearly the entire plot of The Amazing Spider-Man, right down to the origin and the climax. The first time we see a turtle do something, he throws a fucking crate. There's little to no martial arts in the film, and this is a movie with ninja in the fucking title. When the Turtles do use martial arts, it looks fucking laughable because they are big, incredible Hulks doing jump kicks and shit. There's a reason why the Hulk doesn't do martial arts, because it looks fucking stupid. This film is an example of why this is a shitty idea. The direction is limp, the editing is piss poor, the script is tone deaf and stupid. Such a generic, lazy, half-assed cash grab. All you get with this movie is the bare ass of the Ninja Turtles farting in your face. It stinks. Number 5, Dumb and Dumber 2. A sequel too many years too fucking late that is a nut punch. Boring, lazy, tired old story that is just the first movie done horribly. The humor is just as lazy. A cat eats birds and farts feathers, and Harry and Lloyd fart in some guy's face, and Lloyd sticks his hand up some old woman's dusty snatch. This is supposed to be funny? The film can't even get the characters right. They seem even dumber in the sequel than they ever were, and Lloyd is just a dick, an unlikable dickhead. They seem more like Beavis and Butthead than Harry and Lloyd in this film. Jim Carrey and Jeff Daniels are way off in their performances. Jim Carrey especially. His performance comes off as a bad imitation of Jim Carrey. Sums up the film perfectly, because Dumb and Dumber 2 is a bad imitation of the first film. It has none of the heart or the laughs that the first film had, and it comes across as a lazy, tired, predictable, and unfunny film 99% of the time. Such a pathetic waste of potential and the audience's time and money. Number 6, Ride Along. How the hell did this generic-ass buddy cop movie make over $100 million in the United States? Ride Along fails as a comedy because it isn't funny. It fails at being an action movie because the action sequences suck. It also fails at being a buddy cop movie because the two leads are written to not like each other. Who wants to watch a buddy cop movie where the two guys hate each other's guts? Anyone? Anyone? Bueller? Bueller? No one wants to watch that, as evidenced by Bullet to the Head's box office gross. I don't know what kind of Jedi mind tricks or hypnosis Kevin Hart is pulling to get people to like him and go see his shitty movies, but I'd love to know his secrets. It must be some powerful shit. Ride Along is a lame-ass ride. It is a 50-cent rocking horse. It is the 50-cent rocking horse of action comedies, except this ride lasts for an hour and a half. And you can't get off. Number 7, Ouija. Another terrible, shitty PG-13 horror movie that for some reason still made millions at the box office. Horror fans, I'm speaking from the heart here. Do us fellow fans a favor and stop paying for generic lame-ass horror movies like this. You pay your money for this crap, you're just going to keep getting crap. I hate crap. I don't like it. It stinks, and it gets flushed down the toilet. This movie is crap. It has a crap story, crap characters, crappy acting, crappy directing, crappy scares, and it's a crappy time at the movies. This movie thinks that a burner turning on 2 times is the height of terror, or that a piece of chalk rolling down the pavement is some scary-ass shit. The film's big scare is the words, "Hi, friend," written everywhere. What the hell is this shit? Is Barney the Purple Dinosaur stalking these people? Who wrote this garbage? A mentally retarded monkey? Jesus fucking Christ and rubber crutches, this film is bad. This film wouldn't even scare a 2-year-old. Number 8, Sabotage. If you saw the trailer for this movie like I did, you would have expected that this movie was going to be exactly what it was advertised as. A Schwarzenegger movie where he goes after the bad guys who killed his wife and gets sweet revenge. But that is not even remotely close to what the final film actually is. Sabotage is one of the few films I can think of that literally sabotaged itself. Instead of being a straightforward, down and dirty, fun revenge flick with Schwarzenegger kicking a metric ton of ass, we get a boring mystery with some of the worst characters of all time and scenes of Arnold and company moving a toilet full of shit and talking about dumping ass that happened to smell like brisket. The dialogue from the characters in this film is multiple iterations of fuck, the fucking fuck, on the fucking motherfucker, and their fucking fuck. It really got to the point that it was not only laughable, but fucking annoying as well. Arnold has what seems to be the one line of dialogue in the film, and to me it was, "Shut the fuck up! Shut the fuck up!" Exactly. Shut the fuck up, Sabotage. Stop it. The mystery doesn't work because all of the characters are fucking assholes. So you don't give 2 shits about who killed who or why. The action sequences are bland and uninteresting. And the climax is a limp dick that ends with Arnold pretty much left to die in a bar in Mexico. Don't call anybody about this, Sabotage. It isn't worth the effort. Number 9, Electric Boogaloo, the wild untold story of canon films. Are you a fan of canon films? Do you like their brand of entertainment? Do you happen to enjoy films like Over the Top, American Ninja, and King Solomon's Mines? Do you want to see a documentary that gives these films and the company that made them their due? Well, you are shit out of luck because this isn't it. The so-called celebration of canon films is 95% canon blasting, bitching and whining, and 5% actual praise. It is billed at an honest look at canon from the people who actually work for the company or starred in their films, but this time around the honesty is just too much. I was not expecting or asking for a non-stop love fest on canon, but I wasn't expecting a non-stop bitch fest on canon either, and that is exactly what this film is. After a while, the bitching just got old really fast. And to make matters worse, the documentary portion of the film sucks too. You don't learn anything new if you are a fan of canon films other than crazy stories about how shitty canon was to work for or on the set shenanigans. This film fails as a documentary and fails as a celebration of canon. It really needed a lot more balance and a lot less shit talking. Because Electric Boogaloo mostly talks shit about canon, the film is shit. Number 10. Annabelle. This film, a spin-off of The Conjuring, directed by the guy who directed Mortal Kombat Annihilation, is one of the most successful horror films of all time. Stop it! For the love of God, horror fans, stop paying for this bullshit. And that is exactly what this movie is. Bullshit. Predictable, boring, unscary bullshit. Now, I admit that the last half I kind of actually like, but that doesn't actually save the film, because the first half is some of the most dull and boring sequences I have ever seen in a horror movie. You would be better off watching paint dry. That's how boring the first half of this movie is. The second half, even though I liked it okay, was still predictable and generic, and the only thing that saved it was some solid performances by the cast, and that's it. Annabelle is another forgettable entry in the horror genre that leaves no imprint on the viewer, let alone actually scares them. I've seen scarier shit in Garbage Pail Kids the movie. Dolly Dearest is better than this, and that movie sucked ass. If you want to watch a horror movie about a killer doll, stick with Child's Play. Number 11, The Equalizer. Another disappointment. Denzel Washington is in the few scenes that he is in where he actually kicks ass. He's actually quite good. It is the rest of the movie that sucks shit through a vacuum cleaner. The story is stale, and the characters, including the lead, have little to no character development at all. The villain is beyond laughable, and the antithesis of intimidating, and the entire film is in the dire need of an editor. The film also pussies out at some of the worst moments. It tries to be violent, but at certain points it censors itself, which makes no fucking sense at all. The Equalizer is a shitty, boring version of John Wick and Man on Fire. If the film had a better pace to it, and it had some fun with its concept, and it wasn't so artsy-fartsy and pretentious, that would have gone a long way for me. But as it is, The Equalizer is just another forgettable night at the movies. Anyway, folks, thank you for watching my list of the worst films of 2014, and I hope you enjoyed it. And there's more to come in the future where I talk about my favorite films of the year. So anyway, thanks for watching, and I will see you guys later. See ya.